It is widely believed that China has been at the forefront of the global space culture movement. Recent developments have proven that China is gaining ground with its breakthroughs in space, and their partnership will benefit the globe. The nation's plans to work with many countries including France, Pakistan, Germany, Italy, Russia, and the United Nations Space Agency were detailed in a white paper published in the past. These nations lack the financial resources to launch their space stations, which is where China comes in. They are set to handle problems with anything from space medicine to experiments in microgravity physics. China has launched its second space station module of the year to kick off its plans atop a Tiangong 5B rocket. The Mengtian laboratory cabin module, which means dreaming of the heavens, was launched on July the 24th after successfully adding the Mengtian model to China's Tiangong station on the same day. The Mengtian model successfully docked, completing the first phase of China's Tiangong space station construction. The plan stated that Mengtian would be in free flight once in orbit, adjusting its trajectory to meet with Tiangong. Like Mengtian and the Tianhe core module, Mengtian was propelled into orbit by China's Tiangong 5B rocket, commonly known as the Long March 5B in English. Life aboard the spaceship is organized around China Standard Time (CST). The staff awakens at 7 a.m., that's 11 o'clock UTC, and begins work 1 hour later, working until 9 p.m. CST, that's 1 p.m. UTC. The current crew, which includes Mission Commander Cheng Dong, Operator Liu Yang, China's first female astronaut, and System Operator Kaiju Zi, arrived on the Shenzhou 14 in June and is scheduled to return to Earth in December when the job is done. The astronauts aboard spoke with ground control immediately after entering the Mengtian. They said Tiangong, Mengtian, and Mengtian. The wish has been granted. The crew of Shenzhou 14 has successfully reached the Mengtian lab module, Chen announced. The serial number of the rocket that launched Mengtian was 5BY4. While the serial number of Chinese rockets almost invariably correlates to the sequence in which they are launched, this is only sometimes the case. The launch occurred from the Wenchang Space Launch Site, a spaceport in Wenchang, Hainan, selected partly because of its closeness to the sea. Let's talk about the spaceship for a minute before we delve into the structure of the mission. The Mengtian has a mass of 48,500 pounds, that's 22 metric tons. It's 58.7 feet or 17.9 meters and has a diameter of 4.2 meters. It will offer room for zero-gravity research experiments, an airlock for exposure to space vacuum, and a tiny robotic arm to assist extravehicular payloads. Mengtian is separated into 3 sections. The crew working compartment is a pressurized area that houses scientific instrument storage racks and the docking interface that will link Mengtian to the Tianhe core module. The unpressurized cargo module is located outside the pressurized crew working compartment and houses the airlock that the crew will use to discharge payloads outside the station. Both the pressurized and unpressurized parts are outfitted with reaction control system thrusters, which aid in steering the module during free flight and the station after docking. The control module is located at the far end of Mengtian. It has slots for external experiments, a communication antenna, and 2 solar arrays to power the station. The solar panels are initially stowed to accommodate the module inside the CZ-5B's fairing and will deploy soon after launch. The working compartment houses a variety of tools and scientific rooms, such as a rack for a 2-phase system, materials science rack for high temperatures, a rack for ultra-cold atom experiments, and a rack for combustion science. It also has a fluid physics rack for studying fluid dynamics in zero gravity, a time-frequency system with great accuracy, and a workstation for repair and malfunctions. The ultra-cold atom experiment seeks to reach a temperature of 10 picokelvins, which would beat the record for the lowest temperature ever attained by humans, and outperform a similar experiment conducted by NASA in the Cold Atom Lab aboard the International Space Station. On September 30th, the Mengtian module was shifted to its final location near the station's starboard port in preparation for its arrival. This freed up Tianhe, the forward port where Mengtian would first dock. After a few months on that port, it will be shifted to the station's port side. This will give Tiangong its final T-shape, bringing the assembly process to a close. The Tiangong station, when completed, will include 23 experiment racks in its pressurized atmosphere. Over 1,000 experiments will be done on board the space station in the following years, according to the China Manned Space Agency. The astronauts will now test the systems of the Tiangong space station's finished T-shaped design. The project is intended to pave the way for constructing a space-based cold atomic clock based on hydrogen and rubidium. The objective is to create the most excellent atomic clock ever made, allowing for the most exact time measurement possible. According to Zhang Wei, head of the Space Utilization Development Center, it would not waste a single second in hundreds of millions of years. In addition to direct research, the station is being utilized to teach younger Chinese residents about space. China had already invited all United Nations members to visit the Tiangong space station. One of the station's designers assured the Chinese official media that non-Chinese astronauts would like the Tiangong-1 habitat. The Tiangong space station, which translates as Palace in the Sky, is one of two space stations orbiting the Earth, the other being the International Space Station. Tiangong is modest compared to the ISS, with an anticipated mass of about 100,000 kilograms once completely built. This is around 1/4 size of the ISS. It circles the Earth at 381 to 385 kilometers, with an orbital inclination of 41.47 degrees. China aims to maintain Tiangong crewed constantly in the future, without pauses in human presence. Scientists from 17 nations and regions will study the station, including China, Kenya, Russia, Mexico, Japan, and Peru. Many of these countries and areas need help to support their own space initiatives. While the United States has decades more operational experience than China, China's eagerness to collaborate with other countries may cement its standing as a space power today. The Tiangong module was launched in April 2021, kicking off the Tiangong space station's construction. Mengtian landed in July 2022, which means that when Mengtian arrives, all of the station's first permanent modules will be moored at the complex. There are presently no plans to extend the station. Since 2016, China has signed 46 international agreements for space cooperation with 19 different countries and sectors. Regardless of the substantial differences between the US and Chinese space programs, competition in space is intense, and the conclusion of this rivalry is unpredictable. Consequently, the Tiangong space station will remain in orbit when the ISS departs and holds experiments worldwide. However, it is not designed to be a significant competitor to the massive International Space Station, which has 16 modules. China is just starting, as they have many more space-related programs in the pipeline. China also intends to launch the Chinese Survey Space Telescope Mengtian in December 2023. While not a component of the Tiangong space station, it is meant to operate in a similar orbit as the station, enabling it to dock on occasion for maintenance. Its objectives include, but are not limited to, acquiring Martian soil for research purposes. These incredible breakthroughs scare NASA because some of them are projected to happen before equivalent timelines set by the organization or the European Space Agency. The Mengtian Space Telescope will consist of 5 observational instruments: the Mengtian module, the terahertz module, the multi-channel imager, the integral field spectrograph, and the extrasolar planetary imaging coronagraph. The telescope weighs 15,500 kilograms and features a 2-meter primary mirror, allowing a field of vision 300 to 350 times greater than Hubble. Over its 10-year operating lifetime, it is expected to photograph up to 40% of the sky using a 2.6 gigapixel camera. The Chinese National Space Administration will handle this task. The Mengtian, which means survey to the skies, will feature a 2-meter aperture and sophisticated detectors. It will likewise be bus-sized and weigh more than 10 tons. The Chinese Academy of Sciences Institute of Optics, Fine Mechanics and Physics is apparently working on a Mengtian prototype. Do you think China's new space station honestly scares NASA? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. If yes, we're sure you would like this next video here. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more space videos.